Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, let's get straight into it. We're tackling something that seems simple, but trips up a lot of language learners. You walk into a restaurant, you're hungry, you talk to the waiter and say, I want chicken, or, I want the lasagna. Does that sound rude?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
It's not that the grammar's wrong, right? People understand what you mean.
Sure.
But it's too direct. There's no structural cushioning. It sounds demanding.
Yeah, like you're insisting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like a sort of childlike insistence, almost, rather than a polite request.
Right. Our sources actually call that the hungry caveman approach, which, might get you the food eventually.
Yeah, eventually.
But it definitely costs you in terms of confidence and just like social smoothness. So today we're unpacking the sources to find the actual natural, polite phrases native speakers use. We're going beyond those basic textbook things that don't quite hit the mark. Okay, let's unpack this. We're basically giving you the shortcut to sounding confident when talking to a waiter.
And this isn't just about a vocabulary list, is it? It's really about the vibe, like you said, the social smoothing that comes from phrasing things just right.
Totally.
And we want to assure you, the listener, that this deep dive will give you a clear structure so you can, hopefully conquer any nervousness you might feel dealing with restaurant staff.
Perfect. So let's start right at that first moment, placing the initial order.
Okay.
The common mistake, as we've said, is learners defaulting to, I want food. I want the soup.
The imperative.
Yeah, it feels like an order, not a request. So what are those simple structural softeners? How do we shift it from a demand to something acceptable?
Right. This is where linguistics does some heavy lifting that native speakers don't even notice they're doing. You basically need to frame your order in one of two ways, either as a decision you've made for yourself or as a polite sort of conditional request to the server.
Okay, so what does that sound like? What are the magic phrases?
Well, the sources consistently point to phrases built on modal verbs or the future tense. We really recommend, I'll have the dish, please.
I'll have. Okay.
Or could I get the dish?
Could I get? Let's dig into that difference because that feels like the core insight here.
Yeah.
If I say, I'm basically just stating my desire, like, give this to me. But if I say, I'll have the salmon, using I will have, that's future tense. It implies something that's going to happen. It feels more like declaring a decision.
That's exactly the key distinction. I'll have signals. You're informing them of your choice, which, will then lead to the action. It kind of minimizes the imposition on them.
Right.
Now, contrast that with could I get? Here you're using could, a conditional modal verb.
Ah, the conditional.
Yeah. It immediately, technically, opens the door for refusal, even though we all know they won't refuse, right?
Of course.
But grammatically, it signals politeness, deference even.
I see. So it's not just tacking please onto the end of I want. The whole sentence structure needs to be sort of humbler.
Precisely. I want. Sounds like you feel entitled to it right now. But using I'll have or could I get acknowledges the whole service transaction that needs to happen.
Okay.
If you're learning English, honestly, internalizing that switch from I want to I'll have or could I get, that's probably the single biggest improvement you can make for politeness in these situations.
Wow. Okay.
It's a subtle cue,
Yeah.
but it signals real social awareness.
So the key takeaway is structural. Start the order with that softened structure every time.
Absolutely. Think of it like wrapping your decision in a polite request structure.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Let's move beyond ordering something you already know. What about menu ambiguity?
Ah, yes.
You see club sandwich or maybe clam chowder or some regional dish and you're thinking, what is that actually? You need to ask. But you definitely don't want to use that awkward phrase the sources flag. Explain me this food.
Oh, gosh, no. That sounds like you're giving the waiter homework.
Right.
We need natural ways to ask. Ways that show you're curious, not just confused or demanding. The sources highlight two main approaches, really, depending on what you need to know.
Okay, what are the two types of clarification?
First, if you're unsure about the actual components,
Yeah.
The ingredients, what comes with it,
Yeah.
then you need a simple, direct question structure. What's in the dish? Like, what's in the Caesar salad? Or, I'm looking at the black bean chili. What's in that?
Makes sense. It's focused. You sound like you're trying to decide, not grilling them.
Exactly. And the second type is when you're trying to gauge the quality or maybe the flavor profile, especially for specials or things that change.
Like the soup of the day.
Perfect example. Here, you can ask for their opinion or recent experience. The phrasing is often, how is the dish today? So, how is the soup today?
I like adding today. It suggests, quality can vary, right? And you want the current scoop.
Mm-hmm.
But what if the waiter just says, oh, it's really popular? That doesn't tell me much about the taste. How do I follow up naturally without being pushy?
That's a great point. If you get a vague answer like that, you pivot back to specifics, but keep the polite conditional language. So instead of demanding, but is it spicy? You might try something like, okay, thanks. I'm actually quite sensitive to heat. Could you tell me if it leans more mild or hot?
Ah, okay. Maintain the politeness, keep it a question.
Yes. You keep that polite questioning structure, but gently guide them towards the specific detail you need.
Let's try that again quickly, like a mini role play. I'm the customer eyeing the fish special.
Okay, shoot.
Excuse me. How is the cod special today?
Oh, it's selling really well. One of our most popular dishes tonight.
Okay, that sounds promising. But I'm wondering about the sauce. Could you tell me if the lemon caper sauce is like quite buttery or is it on the lighter side?
Ah, good question. It's actually quite light, nice and sharp from the lemon. It goes really well with the sautéed spinach it comes with.
Perfect, see? That exchange gets the info needed. Short, simple questions, using those polite structures we talked about.
Exactly. The waiter feels respected, you know what you're ordering, it's a win-win.
All right, let's tackle customization. This feels like the tricky part where learners worry they'll sound difficult.
Mm-hmm. The modifications.
Yeah, things like no onions, extra cheese, maybe dressing on the side. Is asking for changes like this rude in itself?
Not at all. Not inherently. Especially in places like the U.S., customization is really common. Waiters expect it. Think allergies, preferences. They hear it all the time.
So it's not what you ask, but how you ask.
Precisely. The rudeness only creeps in with the delivery. We need to keep that same politeness structure we use for ordering.
Okay, so how do we structure modification requests politely to minimize that feeling of imposition?
Keep it as a question. Use can or could. For taking something out, the formula is pretty clear. Can I get it without ingredient?
Right.
The source example is good. Can I get the burger with no pickles?
Short, polite. Frames it as an inquiry to the server, not an instruction to the chef.
Exactly. Now, for adding something extra, we often lean slightly more towards could because you're asking for a bit more effort. Could you add extra ingredient, please?
Like, could I get the pasta, but with extra sauce?
Perfect.
Okay, but what if it's complicated? Say I want to swap fries for salad and get the dressing on the side and hold the cheese on the burger. Should I just list it all out in one go?
Oh, probably not. That's where you risk confusing the server and something getting missed.
Right.
Our sources suggest breaking complex mods into clear, sequenced requests. Start with the main dish, then add the changes one by one.
Okay, so like, I'll have the burger, please. And could I get that without cheese?
Yep.
Also, could I substitute the fries for a side salad with the dressing on the side?
Exactly like that. Maybe even break the dressing part into another short request if it feels like too much.
Yeah.
The sequence keeps it conversational but also really clear.
Got it. That makes sense.
And this brings us back to that crucial warning. Avoid.
Right. Sounds aggressive.
Totally. You use that kind of demanding language, you instantly risk getting on the wrong side of the server or even the kitchen. Politeness here is almost like self-preservation.
Good point. Stick with, can I get it without clear, polite, effective?
Now, what about mid-meal? You're eating, enjoying yourself, and suddenly you realize you need something. More water, maybe another napkin, the ketchup you forgot. How do we get attention without,
Without yelling, hey, waiter, water, across the room. Yeah, that's definitely rude and just disruptive for everyone.
Agreed. The approach needs to be subtle, respectful. You wait till the server's nearby, maybe scanning the section.
Then what?
Then just a slight raise of the hand, not frantic waving, just enough to catch their eye.
Okay.
Once you have eye contact, you use that universal polite attention getter. Excuse me.
Simple. Signals. Sorry to interrupt. Just need something quick.
Exactly. And then we go right back to our trusty polite structures. You don't just say water. You ask, excuse me, could we get some water? Or could I have some ketchup, please? Always frame it as a polite request, using could or can.
Makes sense. consistent politeness. Now, let's talk feedback. Compliments. The source materials really stress that waiters and the kitchen staff, too, actually appreciate positive feedback.
Oh, they absolutely do.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. It boosts morale, shows their effort wasn't wasted.
Yeah.
But the compliments need to feel genuine, and specific helps.
Yeah. Vague stuff doesn't land well, and definitely avoid that phrase the source has flagged. It's eatable.
Yes. Eatable is terrible. It basically means, well, I could physically consume this without dying.
Uh-huh. Right. Zero positivity.
None. So what does a good natural compliment sound like? And when's a good time?
Good question. When do you give it?
A perfect time is often when the server does that check-in,
Yeah.
After you've had a few bites, they might ask, how is everything tasting?
Instead of just nodding or saying, fine.
Exactly. Seize that moment. Be specific. You could say, oh, this steak is delicious. The seasoning is really fantastic. Or, wow, this curry is really good. I love how creamy the coconut milk is. See, specificity. It shows you actually noticed and appreciated something about the preparation.
That's a great distinction. Focusing on one element, the seasoning, the texture, the sauce, makes it sound way more sincere than just, it's good.
It really does. It connects your compliment directly to the effort involved. So yeah, structure is key for requests, but specificity makes compliments meaningful.
Okay, final stretch. The end game. We've eaten, we've complimented the delicious creamy curry,
Nice.
and now it's time to pay. First hurdle.
The regional thing, check versus bill.
Ah, yes, the classic divide. It's pretty clear-cut. American English strongly prefers check. British English, Australian, lots of Commonwealth places use bill.
So best practice is use the local term if you know it.
Ideally, yes. But honestly, in most international contexts now, both are pretty much understood. So don't stress too much if you use the wrong one.
Okay, so how do we signal we're ready to pay? Again, we don't want to just stare pointedly or shout check. No. We go back to our polite structure. Could we get the check, please? Or bill, depending.
Okay.
Simple, uses that conditional could we get, works every time.
And what about splitting it? That comes up a lot, right? Dining with friends, colleagues. How do you handle that smoothly?
Clarity and politeness again. If you know right from the start you'll need separate checks, it's often easiest to say so when you ask for the check itself.
So like?
Could we get the check, please? And we'd like separate checks.
Okay.
Alternatively, if you're not sure if they can split it easily or how many ways, frame it as a question about their capability. Can we split the check 5 ways? Or maybe, would it be possible to separate this by couple?
Framing it as, is this possible for you? Rather than, do this for me.
Exactly. Asking, can we split, feels much less demanding than saying, we need 5 separate bills. It just maintains that polite, confident tone right to the end.
Nice. So you use these structures, you basically guarantee a smooth, stress-free end to the meal. So if we boil everything down, the main takeaway isn't about memorizing tons of phrases. It's mastering one core structural idea, isn't it?
Absolutely. What's really fascinating here is how just a few small grammatical tweaks, shifting from that direct I want to the more polite I'll have or could I get, completely changes the perception.
Yeah.
And that structural politeness, it applies across the board. Ordering, asking questions, making requests, even asking to pay.
And for you, the listener, remember, every time you eat out, it's practice. You now have the tools to handle menus, ask for changes, finish up smoothly. That's a huge win, right?
It really is. Knowing these nuances means you're not just like speaking English words, you're tapping into the cultural expectations wrapped up in the language. That's key to sounding genuinely natural and confident.
So what does this all mean? It means you're basically ready. You can go into your next restaurant meal without that fear of accidentally sounding rude or demanding. And since you now know that just a couple of words can be the difference between sounding like that hungry caveman versus a polite diner, maybe think about this. How many other everyday interactions, asking a coworker for help, maybe requesting something from customer service, are also governed by these subtle, unwritten rules of politeness in phrasing?
Yeah.
What's one other situation where maybe your current phrasing is a bit too direct, and how could you apply that I'll have or could I get kind of softening structure there? Just something to mull over until next time.
Excellent question to leave folks with. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.